Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Are Holden and Audra more compatible than Claire and Holden? The young and the restless Claire and Holden have spent a lot of time together over the past few months, sipping vespers at society, sharing talks in the park, and enjoying the LA nightlife. It all led to a night of passionate sex in Claire's hotel room. But every now and then, we get fiery scenes between Holden and Audra, who he once had a fling with. Which woman does he seem to like more? What happened Friday on The Young and the Restless? Holden and Audra argued about their dark secret on The Young and the Restless. On Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless, Holden approached Audra at the GCAC bar and let her know that he confessed their dark LA secret to Claire. Audra started fuming, which she does so often, and that's one of the reasons she's so fun to watch. It's never a dull moment when Audra Charles is on our screens. On that note, it was disappointing that she didn't make an appearance until the last 15 minutes of the episode. When Audra is on, we need her on for the whole hour. She was furious that Holden shared their secret with Claire. An argument ensued. These fiery scenes between Holden and Audra only happen about once every month or two. We need to see more of them together, and we also need more details about their past relationship. When Holden first moved to Genoa City in January, he seemed like he wanted to rekindle their LA romance, but she kept turning him down. She was dating Nate at the time. Now that she and Nate have broken up, it would be interesting if the YNR writers would give us a taste of what she and Holden were like as a couple. Let's see some flashbacks of them when they were together. Speaking of flashbacks, Claire and Holden keep flashing back to their night together on The Young and the Restless. On The Young and the Restless, we've seen a lot of flashbacks to Holden's sex scenes with Claire over the past week. Holden and Claire have both flashed back to them at different times. But every time we see Holden and Audra argue, sparks fly. If they reunited, would they have even more chemistry than Holden and Claire do? Claire became wild and passionate after getting drunk. Audra is rarely, if ever, drunk and is always passionate with the men in her life. Holden looked envious when Claire left Crimson Lights with Kyle because he seems to have a sincere interest in her. But since Audra is a feisty vixen and not Little Miss Sunshine, as she sarcastically described Claire, maybe she's a better match for Holden. She knows how a guy like him thinks and operates because she's the female version of him. All this heat feels like it's leading up to something. Holden is still hiding the truth from Claire on The Young and the Restless. We learned that Holden lied to Claire to quell her curiosity about his and Audra's secret in the preview for The Young and the Restless that airs next week. He threw her off the trail so she wouldn't take a deeper dive into what really happened between him and Audra. Claire already told Victoria that she doesn't want to pursue a relationship with Holden because he lives on the edge. So maybe a broken-hearted Holden will get into another heated argument with Audra one night, and all that heat will explode into a night of passion for them. Could it be even more sizzling than his night with Claire? What do you all think? Are Holden and Audra where the real chemistry is at, or Holden and Claire? Tell us your opinions in the comments section. Holden and Audra have chemistry. YNR fans react to their dangerous backstory. On Friday's all-new episode of The Young and the Restless, Holden returned to Genoa City after a whirlwind vacation with Audra. The first order of business was to meet Audra at the GCAC and reveal his crisis of conscience regarding Claire. Audra snapped and stormed off after he admitted to Claire that he had told her part of their shared history. This left their complicated backstory far from being resolved. When Holden first arrived in Genoa City, he seemed intent on rekindling his relationship with Audra. But now viewers are aware that their paths originally crossed in a different way. Although the flashbacks didn't appear to hint at anything overtly romantic between the two, that hasn't stopped viewers from sharing their thoughts about a potential future between them. It's possible that things could get heated between the two of them, despite the fact that Audra is focused on her career and Holden is focused on Claire. After Holden's poorly received confession to Audra, several fans rushed to social media to share their thoughts on the altered storyline, with the responses being quite mixed. Some viewers are vehemently against a romantic pairing between Audra and Holden, while others seem sparks leaping off the screen whenever they share scenes. Considering the dull state that The Young and the Restless is in these days, any conversation surrounding the soap should be seen as a win. I love Holden and Audra as characters on this show. Holden and Audra have chemistry, but I don't need anything romantic to happen right now. I want the writers to keep pushing Holden and Claire, and let that build, one fan tweeted. Audra has so much sex appeal that she would have chemistry with the waiter at Crimson Lights. I do think Claire and Holden have something. They make a unique pairing. It would be a little predictable to put him with Audra IMO, a viewer expressed. So, are we supposed to forget Holden came to town damn near obsessed with Audra? It's conveniently being left out this storyline. #YR, one fan noted. So Audra Charles took money from the creep who tried to get her drunk just to sleep with her, and that makes her the evil one? GTFO. Holden, I love you, but why are you snitching? And Claire, your crime was 1,000 times worse, yet you've got guys fighting over you. Get off your high horse. I am riding with Audra, one viewer proclaimed. Audra is so selfish and self-centered, only cares about herself. She didn't care she put Holden in the line of fire to save her ass for stealing someone's money, a lot of money. She just want Holden to keep her dirty little secret while she walks off into the sunset, #YR, a viewer tweeted. So Holden wasn't completely honest with Claire. There's something else bigger that happened with him and Audra. Something he wants to keep hidden. I knew that was too easy, #YR. One fan commented. Holden is so stupid. And he did all of this for a woman who just used him for sex #year. He has now put Audra's life in danger, and his own life too, since he got a chunk of the money. What on earth was he thinking? A viewer reacted. Well, I can understand his thinking. From what we've heard, if Holden exposes Audra's past, there'll be nothing stopping her from exposing Holden's nefarious deeds to the sunlight. So no one wins, one fan remarked. Holden is a loser who threw Audra under the bus to please a girl who ended up not wanting him anyways. #YR, an appalled viewer shared. Holden did what was planned. He's probably Audra's baby daddy when she claimed Noah was, a fan tweeted. Watch today's #YR, and either Holden's lying or the writers are forgetting what they've already established. Their scenes in GC had made it clear he and Audra were much more familiar than just bartender and customer. If this really is all there is, it's pretty disappointing, one viewer wrote. What's next for Audra and Holden Young and the Restless? Nathan Owens as Holden on The Young and the Restless. Audra and Holden have spent years trying to escape their past, but everything eventually catches up, a lesson both are learning. Holden's California trip with Claire placed him back with Mitch and Sienna at the Shadow Room, now the crime scene. Kyle probed for dirt on both Holden and Audra there. Claire now knows part of how they met, and there's no predicting who she'll tell or if she'll use it against Audra. Audra is focused on securing a position at Abbott Communications, while Holden has a bit more time on his hands. Whatever position he held with Kane seems to have never existed at all, which frees up his days to become further entangled in his troubled past. Everything from Los Angeles connects, and though he's back in Genoa City, those days may not be as buried as he hoped. Viewers remain split on whose side to support, with some backing Audra's underdog vibe and others seeing Holden as a pawn in her relentless climb to the top. Too many wild card players complicate the storyline, making it possible for anyone to reveal the full extent of the dangerous past. Anyone could spill everything about what actually happened, especially Sienna, who seems ready to crack after enduring weeks of non-stop interrogations. In the sprawling, ever-twisting universe of The Young and the Restless, relationships are both the lifeblood and the battlefield of Genoa City. Over the past few months, fans have been treated to a slow-burn entanglement between Holden and Claire, complete with cocktails, wistful park strolls, and a steamy night in a Los Angeles hotel room. Yet beneath the surface of this carefully crafted romance lies another dynamic, one far more volatile, dangerous, and arguably more magnetic: Holden and Audra. Theirs is not the kind of chemistry that glows softly in candlelight. It ignites like a spark in dry brush, unpredictable and impossible to contain. While Holden and Claire's storyline checks all the boxes for traditional soap romance, Holden and Audra's connection crackles with something rawer and more instinctive. Their shared history, mutual manipulation, and smoldering tension deliver the kind of combustible energy that makes for must-watch television. As much as Holden and Claire's relationship feels like a story of redemption and rediscovery, Holden and Audra's pairing embodies chaos, danger, and desire, the hallmarks of the genre at its most intoxicating. A contrast of chemistry, warm affection versus dangerous fire. Holden and Claire's relationship has been painted as a chance for new beginnings. After Holden's turbulent past, Claire offers him a kind of emotional reset. Their connection is founded on mutual curiosity and a desire to heal from personal scars. When they sip vespers at society or share quiet conversations in the park, it feels pleasant, even soothing. Yet, therein lies the issue. Pleasant isn't passion. Their moments are cinematic, but not electric, polished, but not primal. Their chemistry feels written rather than lived. Contrast that with Holden and Audra, whose every shared glance brims with unspoken history and sexual tension. From the moment Holden arrived in Genoa City, their exchanges have been charged, layered with resentment, attraction, and shared secrets. When Holden admitted to Claire their dark LA secret, Audra's fury was not only about betrayal but also about exposure in Friday's episode. Beneath the anger pulsed an undeniable connection, the kind that turns confrontation into foreplay. When Audra storms, Holden doesn't retreat, he leans in. Their arguments are performances of dominance and vulnerability, power and surrender. This combustible energy is what makes their scenes unforgettable. It has the impression that every accusation and insult is a prelude to something physical. In a soap landscape increasingly focused on soft drama, Holden and Audra's volatile chemistry reminds viewers of why they tune in: for emotional risk and carnal tension. The psychology of passion. Holden and Audra mirror each other. Audra Charles is, by her own admission, not Little Miss Sunshine. She thrives in the gray areas of morality and emotion. Holden, on the other hand, is a charming bad boy, the kind who hides his wounds behind charisma. They understand each other not because they're opposites, but because they're mirrors. In relationships like Holden and Claire's, opposites attract for a while, but shared temperament sustains chemistry. Holden and Audra operate on the same frequency of manipulation, ambition, and emotional armor. Both have secrets they protect, like currency. Both use charm as a weapon and vulnerability as a trap. It's why their conversations can oscillate between seduction and warfare within seconds. Holden doesn't just challenge Audra, he decodes her. And Audra, in turn, refuses to let him off the hook. When he confesses or lies, she sees through it immediately. This psychological interplay adds depth to their connection, making it feel real in a way that Holden and Claire's idyllic flirtation cannot replicate. Holden and Audra's relationship embodies the duality of desire and destruction, a hallmark of great soap pairings like Victor and Nikki or Phyllis and Nick in earlier arcs. The LA secret, a bond forged in darkness. One of the narrative pillars that solidifies Holden and Audra's unique bond is their mysterious, shared past in Los Angeles. Whatever transpired there, money theft, betrayal, or worse, has permanently linked them in guilt and secrecy. This isn't the foundation of a healthy romance, but it's certainly the foundation of a compelling one. When Holden revealed to Claire that he'd told her about this dark chapter, Audra's rage was visceral. The moment encapsulated what sets her apart as a character. Her emotional responses are unfiltered and unapologetic. Zuleika Silver's performance breathes life into Audra's fury. She simmers with indignation, but the audience can sense the ache beneath it. This complexity feeds directly into the combustible chemistry with Holden. Every secret they share acts as emotional glue, binding them even as they try to break free. Their connection feels earned through danger and deceit, unlike Holden and Claire's, which feels constructed through romantic tropes. When Holden lies to Claire to protect Audra, it's not just narrative convenience. It's evidence that his loyalty still, in some twisted way, belongs to the woman he betrayed. Holden and Claire, passion without fire. That's not to say Holden and Claire lack chemistry altogether. Their night in the hotel room was undoubtedly passionate, and the flashbacks of that encounter serve as evidence that their connection resonates, at least physically. But flashbacks alone cannot sustain narrative heat. The writer's uncertainty about how to move forward with their relationship is made even more apparent by the replays. It's as if the show is telling viewers, "Remember how hot they were?" Instead of showing us new dimensions of their bond. Claire's appeal lies in her innocence and optimism, traits that serve as foils to Holden's darkness. Yet, those same qualities can make their scenes feel one note. The audience knows how Claire will respond, hurt, confused, hopeful, and how Holden will act, remorseful, secretive, torn. Their romance, while tender, lacks the danger that drives enduring soap couples. Audra, by contrast, brings out Holden's unpredictability. Around Claire, he plays the role of a man trying to change. Around Audra, he reverts to the man he truly is, reckless, passionate, flawed. The tension between who Holden wants to be and who he is creates magnetic storytelling potential. With Claire, he's acting. With Audra, he's alive. Fan reactions, the divided heart of the audience. The fan base reflects this same split. On social media, many Y&R viewers express mixed feelings about Holden's romantic prospects. Some see Claire as a stabilizing force, someone who might redeem Holden from his morally dubious past. Others, however, see more spark and intrigue in his connection with Audra. Comments like "Holden and Audra have chemistry, but I don't need anything romantic right now," and "Audra has so much sex appeal, she'd have chemistry with a waiter," reveal the audience's awareness of her magnetic screen presence. Even detractors admit that Zuleika Silver's performance commands attention. Audra's critics often frame her as self-centered or manipulative, but that's part of her charm. She's a modern soap archetype, the unapologetic woman who refuses to play victim. Her scenes with Holden thrum with tension precisely because neither character gives ground easily. Holden's moral ambiguity meets Audra's ruthless pragmatism, and sparks fly. Fans are also quick to point out inconsistencies in the writing. Holden's sudden obsession with Claire seems at odds with his earlier infatuation with Audra. Some suspect the show is rewriting history to fit new storylines, a common soap tactic. Yet, even this rewriting underscores how unforgettable Holden and Audra's early scenes were. Viewers remember their chemistry vividly enough to notice its absence in the current arc. Narrative potential. Why Holden and Audra deserve more screen time. From a storytelling perspective, Holden and Audra's pairing offers richer material than Holden and Claire's. Drama thrives on conflict, and these two characters generate it naturally. Their relationship carries unresolved tension, emotional stakes, and moral ambiguity, all elements that keep long-running soap plots engaging. Imagine the possibilities. Flashbacks to their LA escapades, the revelation of deeper secrets, or the reemergence of enemies tied to their shared past. Every confrontation could double as seduction. Every betrayal could blur into attraction. Audra's attempt to bury her criminal connections could collide with Holden's attempts at redemption, creating a push-and-pull dynamic that neither can fully escape. In contrast, Holden and Claire's story feels more predictable. Their romance may reach temporary heights, but without a dramatic underpinning, it risks fading into background noise. The young and the restless thrives when it pits passion against peril, and Holden and Audra embody the duality better than any other current pair. Thematic resonance, the beauty of the flawed pairing. Soap operas are at their best when they explore moral complexity within romantic relationships. Holden and Audra's connection isn't pure. It's polluted by secrets, lies, and power struggles. But that's what makes it fascinating. It's a relationship that mirrors real human contradictions. Attraction to danger, longing for redemption, and the inability to let go of the past. Audra challenges Holden rather than attempting to fix him, and he, in turn, brings out her vulnerability even when she resists it. They oscillate between partners and enemies, between protectors and destroyers. Theirs is not a love story in the traditional sense. It's a collision of egos, desires, and guilt. Yet in that collision lies undeniable truth. Passion isn't always gentle. Sometimes it's war. Claire's connection to Holden, while sweet, lacks that element of risk. It's a relationship born of emotional safety, not danger. She represents the version of Holden that might exist in a better world. But Audra represents the world as it truly is, messy, seductive, and unforgiving. The verdict: fire over warmth. Ultimately, while Holden and Claire share a surface-level connection built on mutual curiosity, Holden and Audra generate an undeniable spark rooted in shared history and psychological depth. Their chemistry is not about compatibility, it's about combustion. It's the kind of connection that makes audiences lean forward, unsure whether the next moment will end in a kiss or catastrophe. Holden and Claire might represent the heart of the young and the restless, but Holden and Audra embody its pulse, the dangerous rhythm that keeps viewers coming back. If the writers are wise, they'll lean into that electricity rather than avoid it. After all, in the world of soaps, love built on chaos often outlasts love built on comfort. Holden and Audra's story still feels unfinished, their secrets still unresolved, and their emotions still raw. As long as those embers exist, no amount of flashbacks to Claire's hotel room can extinguish the fire between them.